If you have a golden conure like Harry, and like Harry, you're looking to add a brother or a sister, what are some good species for this communal parrot? Because communal means they're a little different than most other parrots. Hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of The Parrot Bliss Bond and the new book, Get to Know African Grey and Cape Parrots, both available on Amazon. If you are here to get blissed out or to meet Beatrix, my golden conure, then you're in the right place. Our mission is to help increase your blissful bond, reducing the need for rescues, really rehoming too, but specifically, I don't know how rescues do it. If you know that this is Beatrix, then you're used to hanging out. Thank you if you've already subscribed. I love my fans almost as much as I love my pets. So Harry the Golden Conure is on Instagram, and I think that my golden conures were part of what inspired Harry's home, or Harry's family getting him. And the thing is, he's down in Miami, and they post pictures, and Harry is on his harness going everywhere. I think it reminds me of Bonnie when I took Bonnie to Naples on her harness, and so I think for that reason, I'm like kind of blissed out about Harry. Now, mind you, if I see pictures of other golden conures, or if I see other golden conures, I go crazy about them too. I really like this species. So this is a communal species. Communal means that I have a friend who has a pair and she's going to try to get them to breed. And I'm like, I really want to hear how that goes, because my understanding is that as a communal species, you really need to have like 3. You need to have multiples in order for them to really come together and get into that reproductive mode. So these are birds that don't pair off necessarily in 2s, or they may pair off in 2s, but they have to have other golden conures around. It's not like a lot of other species that go off on their own, just as 2, like for example, the way Major Mitchell's do, and go and do their own thing and have a family, and then later come back to the flock when the family's done, and then spend time in the flock. So it's like 2 separate lives. It's not like that with the golden conures. So that means that when you are thinking about getting a second golden conure, the rules can be a little different. First, of course, the very best bet is another golden conure. When I brought Orabello home, and he was a rescue, he was sick and he was old, he didn't really want anything to do with any of the birds because he wasn't feeling good and stuff like that, but he really did bond with Binks. Like, he would come up, he would let Binks come up and they would cuddle, and he was open to Binks. Every species of parrot is just going to be more open and more likely to connect with their same species. Because golden conures are so communal, in my case, Binks and then Bonnie were swept away by Tico. Tico is my orange-winged Amazon who loves conures. And the nice thing about golden conures is that they are more his size. My other conures are all like, you know, I don't know, a third his size or smaller kind of thing. So one of the things that comes into play is a parrot's upbringing. In other words, Bipa right now, my white cap pioness, she has been brought up from the time they were all naked with linealated parrots. So the 3 of them are in a cage right now, and they love each other and they're fine together. If I left them together until they were all sexually mature, they would be fine. I don't know what would happen after they sexually mature. Like, I could leave them in the same cage until something happens, and I don't know exactly what would or would not happen. In the case of Harry, similar to Beatrix, Beatrix has spent the first year of his life, and not literally the first year, but basically in a cage by himself at the pet store. They would bring him out, and I mean, they socialized him. They would bring him out, they would let him be on a perch, and he would socialize with people. But basically, he didn't really get to bond with other parrots or with another golden. So he is more connected with me, you could tell, than he is with another bird. that means that so far Tico hasn't won him over. I think Tico's persistent, and I think that Tico will get Beatrix to come around, but I think it's going to take time. Binks and Bonnie, they were both young. Binks was a baby, and Bonnie was only like 7 months old. So at a year, this bird is more used to and more conditioned to people, just like Harry. Harry's also in that kind of situation. Bless you. Bless you. So, Harry's owners are thinking about a red-fronted macaw, or like a severe macaw, maybe even a cape. So I'm going to show you what my capes do with the golden. Because my capes were young around my golden conures, they love my golden conures. When golden conures are really young, they are really, really social. I have noticed that when they get a little older, they start to get a little less friendly with other parrots. And what I mean by that is, you know, Bonnie got a little to the point where like she and Kailani would bicker. And so I wouldn't let them out at the same time because I didn't want anything to happen to Bonnie. I assumed that the bigger macaw would hurt the smaller golden conure. And, you know, that's because Bonnie was just kind of like, look, this is my space, my cage, my bird, my life. Don't come mess with it. So with Harry, I think the same would be true. If Harry gets a brother or sister that is that red-fronted or a severe, or even the Cape Parrot, and the new baby is young, that means that they can't be left alone, because it won't be until the baby is older that they'll really, like, the baby will be confident enough. For the same reason we don't let young children go out on dates with adults. You know, it's not developmentally appropriate. But if they're around each other, what'll happen is that, you know, within a year, and actually by the time the baby has weaned, it won't be quite a year, maybe 3/4 of a year, maybe, you know, maybe half a year, maybe a full year. It just depends on how long it takes them to mature. You'd be able to feel comfortable not putting them in the same cage, but letting them play together when the baby has now grown up with Harry. So at that point, one of the things that we're doing is the baby is going to socialize to the golden conure, and so the baby's going to be fine about it. And we're going to have to watch Harry like a hawk, because Harry is not used to other birds. He's not going to, like, his mentality, if he had a mentality, and it's more like a mindset or a conditioned position, is not other birds, other people. So Harry has to have his own process of realizing that another parrot is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be part of the family, and it's actually really going to be a companion for him that when he gets used to, he is going to love. So my first choice would be to get a second golden conure. But if I was like, but this is a communal parrot and I'd really like to see what it's like to have a different parrot, then I would risk it. But I would be like, because after all, if I end up having to get 2 capes or 2 red fronts or whatever I get, and another golden, and I end up with 4 parrots, who cares? That would be awesome. And then those are parrots that most likely in time I would be able to cage together, and so I would only have to have 2 cages that I maintained most of the time. A backup cage is always a good thing, but, you know, basically, like, I'd only have to clean and do waters and food in 2 cages, even if I wound up with 4, because because I had 2 goldens and 2 of another species. But I would try it. I mean, you know, why not? But be patient and realize that it is really going to be a process, since Harry's 1.5 years old. Because at a year, and now Beatrix is officially a little more than a year. Beatrix, you know, he does well. Our Quantum comes over and just loves on him. Oh my God. But I don't know, it's funny, but Beatrix just hasn't quite taken to Tico. So that could happen. And so you just have to be willing to kind of do a little gambling there. All right, guys, I hope that helps. I can't wait to see what kind of sibling Harry gets. If you need some awesome bird merch, make sure to visit shop.parrotbliss.com. And then I will see you in the next blissful video.